leading from a 6 and a 9 couplet. What is the advantage to leading the 6?
You can't play the 5.
Pairing the 9 afterwards is a safe play.
Yeah, I can pair the 9 for 24. If I lead the 6 and you put a 9 on it, I can pair the 9 for 24.
Instead of 21.
If I play the 9, then I got to think about pairing your 6 for 21. And I'll tell you what happens a whole lot. They got a 5 and a 4, or they got another 6. Their play of the 6 makes 27. Doesn't make any difference if you got one, it won't fit. So they got 6 pegs and a go. If they got the 4 and the 5, they got a nice run. And so much preferable. 6 and 9 are not equal. As a rule, a single 9, and we'll get to this a little further along in the class as to which cards to lead, but as a rule, a single 9 is the worst lead in cribbage. Now there's a few exceptions, and we'll talk about when it might be advisable to lead one, but as a rule, the single 9 is the weakest lead in cribbage. The other thing, we don't want to let the dealer off free. Remember, the dealer has a terrific advantage in pegging. And by terrific, I mean almost 2 to 1. A dealer will average very close to 4 points on pegging, and the non-dealer, even if they're good, will usually be about 1.8. There's only a few hands in cribbage that will give the non-dealer any pegging advantage. And we'll talk about those because they're a small number and you need to recognize them when they show up. But as a rule, we don't want to let the dealer off free. We know the dealer's got a pegging advantage. So in a case such as that, if we had a 4 and a 7, most of the time we'd lead the 4. If they paired the 4, we'd stay even. We get 15. And I'm going to talk in offensive pegging. I got to tell you, I beat the Lynn Culvert a lot by playing the hand the other way. Because players of really good quality, if you play a 7, will figure you don't have a 4. And they'll make the count 11 with a 4. And then instead of getting the 2 you would have got the other way, you get 4. Same with a 3 and a 9. That's offensive pegging. You show them the big card, and they believe because you presented the big card that you don't have that small one, or you would have laid it out there. And so you get a 12 on a 9, or a 4 on a 7 for 11, and you score 4 pegs instead of the 2. So, but as a rule, most of the time we play the hand, we're in a position where the 4 lead makes some sense. But if you're lagging in the game and looking to pick up a little ground, then we'll play offense. And we'll get into offensive pegging and defensive pegging. We won't get much of that tonight because we're going to do about a minute and be done here. 4, 5, 6, 7, if you're playing safe. Playing defensive, lead to 4. Playing defensive, lead to 4. If you're playing offense, lead to 7. Let them have a 15. You get 3. You need 3. But if 2 is just fine, play the 4. Play the defense. I mentioned this, leading to 3 when holding a 9. And ideally shoot for 31. It's a lot easier for the dealer. We're going to get into these so-called magic 11s, 11 from heaven. And DeLynn does a good job, but he does not explain that 2-card 11s aren't worth a hoot to the non-dealer. They don't do a thing for you. You need a 3-card 11 as a non-dealer. 2-card 11s work great for the dealer. So if the dealer has a deuce 9 and 3 8, 5 6, 4 7, the dealer has a very high percentage chance to close the count at 31. But if you've got those same cards and not dealing, they have no particular value. And we'll get into that. Lots of cover. Questions? Next week will be full-time pegging.